keep up the positive forward motion. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Positive Forward Motion. This is your host, Denise Scattergood. I am super excited that you're here. This presentation is on living a fearless life, one step at a time. And I recently gave a talk to a group of women in Texas on living a fearless life, and this is their presentation. And they enjoyed it so much that they asked if I would go ahead and record it so that they could share it with their friends, family members, and coworkers. And I hope you would enjoy it as much too. I do want to remind you guys that there is a downloadable document that comes with this presentation. So you can go ahead and download that and follow along. If you're not somewhere where you can do that and print it out, it's okay. Just grab a pen and paper and follow along. I'm so happy you're here and I hope you enjoy it. So for those of you who may be new to positive forward motion, it is my little saying, and gosh, I've been saying it for years, and the way I look at it is, no matter how small your step, as long as you take it in the right direction, that's what I call positive forward motion. Many times we feel like we're not making progress unless we're, moving forward in leaps and bounds. And oftentimes what we do is pause and stop and not move forward at all. So remember, it doesn't matter how small your step is, as long as you take it in the right direction. That's what I call positive forward motion. So let's go ahead and get started. I want you to think about or list something that you've always or maybe recently wanted to do. So take some time and write that down. Write down something that you've always wanted to or just recently decided you want to do. Next, think about and describe how getting started on this goal, how will it make you feel? Are you going to feel excited, anxious, nervous, worried, scared, exhilarated? Describe how getting started on something that you've always wanted to do or maybe recently, how does it feel to go ahead and get started on this goal? And then next, how will you feel once you have accomplished this goal? So let's go ahead and get started, one positive forward motion step at a time. And the word start is a really great reminder. S-T-A-R-T. So just go ahead and get started. And I want you to remember these letters as an acronym to help you get to where you want to be. So S equals say. Be very careful what you say to yourself and also what you allow others to say to you about your goals and dreams. Remember, it's your goal and dream, so be very careful about your self-talk because self-talk is either going to motivate you or drag you down. And also remember today. Think about today. What can you do right now today to get started on your goal? Maybe what you did right now today is watch this presentation, and that's enough right then and there because that's a small step towards your goal. And A stands for able. Remember, you are able. It doesn't matter your age, your gender, your education, or what you feel your ability is. You are able to go ahead and get started right now today. And R stands for ready. Planning is really good, but don't fall into the trap of getting ready to get ready to get ready to get ready. So many times we'll plan so long that a month later you're still in the planning stage and you've never taken a step in the right direction to get moving. So that takes us to T, and T stands for try. Don't over-evaluate it, just try. Understand, you're going to have setbacks and you're going to have failures. So what? Try anyway. Okay, so you're going to start on your future self. So therefore, I want you to keep looking forward. It is certainly okay to glance in the past, but I don't want you to stay there. So I want you to write out and really manifest, like, what does your future self look like? How do you see yourself once you've completed this goal and made these changes or, succeeded in this area that you want to go ahead and succeed? Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, our past can help us if we look at it and take lessons from the past that we can bring with us. I'll give you one of my examples. When I was young, I was about 15 years old, I took private pilot lessons. I never completed and got my pilot license. It bothered me for years and years and years, and it felt like just a weight that just held me down. I was so frustrated, and it's expensive and time consuming. So I never really started back up, but it certainly bothered me. But what I did is I flipped that and thought the lesson that I learned from that was the way it made me feel. I had that regret and I had that yucky feeling of, oh, I wish I would have completed my pilot license. But what I did is I turned that into personal power and thought, I don't ever want to feel that way again. So the lesson that I learned that I could take with me was that I don't want to feel that way again. I don't want to have that yucky feeling of letting myself down and not completing something that I started. So that's the lesson that I learned to bring with me. You also want to think about, what will you leave behind? If you're constantly focusing on something that was a negative or a regret that was in your past, well, leave it there. It's not going to serve your future. If it's going to serve your future because it's a great lesson, then take it with you. But sometimes you might need to just realize what you need to leave behind. Okay, now it's time to start making progress on our goals. And right here, this is one of my favorites. Progress over perfection. I want you to focus on progress over perfection. And I'll share with you what we mean here. When we focus on progress over perfection, what happens is we get to enjoy the journey. And here's why. One, it's sustainable because you're going to stumble and you're going to fumble along the way. But if you're focusing on making everything so perfect, you're going to get stuck and you're not going to want to move forward. So if you understand that you're going to make mistakes and it's not going to be perfect, then it's going to be so much easier to overcome obstacles and objections, and you'll get to keep going, and it will be light and it'll be fun. Progress over perfection encourages learning. Mistakes are going to happen, and if you look at them as learning opportunities rather than a setback, you'll continue to grow and move forward. And when you focus on progress over perfection, it helps you to break each step down into small, actionable steps. But then the fun of it is when you complete a small step, reward yourself. Get excited. Don't worry about, oh, I didn't complete the entire thing. Think about maybe that one little step that you took in the right direction, and then reward yourself. Give yourself a pat on the back, and that'll help keep you moving forward, and you will enjoy the journey because remember, it's your goal and it should be fun. If you did download the worksheet, you can certainly follow along. You may have already looked and filled out this information. If not, that's okay. Grab a pen and paper and list 3 steps that you can do to help make progress on your goal. That's it, just 3 steps. It might be a huge surmountable goal, but 3 little steps. And then think to yourself, what can you do right now? Maybe this weekend, maybe right now today. But don't let too much time go by. What can you do to help you move forward with your goal? Next, think about it. Is self-doubt creeping into your thinking? If so, make a list of your doubts. Identify them, look at them, read through them, and then scratch them out. Sharing your worries and doubts with supportive, positive people can also help. So turn to someone that you trust. Turn to a partner and share how you're feeling and why you might be feeling that way. But be very, very careful who you share this information with. You know, you have friends and family members out there that will support your dreams, or you may have somebody that will be a naysayer. So stay away from the naysayers. This is your dreams and your goals. So find somebody that you can turn to who support you in a very positive way. And then think about, how did expressing your feelings to a trusted person, how does it help you? How will that help you move forward with your goals and dreams? You're making progress, right? You got started. You're focusing on that progress over perfection. And then starts creeping its little head in? Fear, right? And fear, F-E-A-R, think about it. False evidence appearing real. Fear is a healthy tool. It can keep us safe. But when we allow fear to creep in, that isn't actually true, or it overwhelms us, it certainly will hold us back. So let's talk about how we can conquer our fears. When it comes to fear, we're going to start with the top biggest fears for most people. So, maybe take a minute and think about what the 3 top biggest fears are. I'm sure you probably got really close, or maybe you got them all right. First one is fear of what others think. Second is fear of failure. And the third is fear of rejection. So this is a really big one, right? Many of us worry about what others think. And what I want to remind you is, whose life is this anyway? Are you doing it to appease others? Because if you are, then you're going to burn out and lose momentum on your goal very, very quickly. Because if you're doing things to appease others, it's definitely going to not give you joy and it's not sustainable. So remember, whose life is this anyway? If this is your goal and your dream, then it's yours. Don't worry what others think. Next is, if you have too many people around you being negative Nillies, then it's time to start thinking about who you're surrounding yourself with, and you're going to want to go ahead and replace those folks for sure. And how are you choosing to surround yourself with? How are you choosing who you give your time to and who you're surrounding yourself with, right? So it's really important to take a little check and think why you are so fearful of what others think. And if you feel that you're being surrounded with a bunch of negative Nillies, then it's certainly time to stop and think and make some changes in your life, because it is your life and these are your choices. Next is fear of failure. And think about this one. I mean, as we get older, we certainly can have more experiences of failure and how that feels, and we worry more. But I want you to go back to when you were a kid and think about, what would you tell your children if the first time they got on a bike and they fell down, you'd get them back up and tell them to keep trying, because it's a learned experience and you know that if they keep trying, they're going to be successful, right? And one of my favorite John Maxwell lessons from his trainings is to see failure as falling forward. The only way to move forward is to actually fail as you go, because then you learn what doesn't work. And next is fear of rejection. So worried that, oh my gosh, what if I ask for this or I ask for that, and I get rejected and it doesn't work, or I apply to school or I apply for that job. It's silly when you think about it, because life is just full of rejection. So you get rejected. They're not taking your life. They're just saying no. But I will tell you, there's two parts to this. Many times we are just as afraid that we might get a yes and not get rejected. So pay attention to that too. You start moving forward in your goal. You got started. You are focusing on progress over perfection, and you're moving down the line. Then all of a sudden you're stopped in your tracks. Sometimes, and I've seen it happen many times, somebody stops in their tracks because they actually got a yes to what they were moving towards in their goal, and it scares the daylights out of them. So what do you do when that happens? You want to stop and go. It's false evidence appearing real. So what if you're afraid? Being afraid is part of life. It is a way to help us with survival, of course, but when it comes to reaching our goals and moving forward, we are all afraid. Everybody gets afraid. But the more you learn to overcome that fear and move forward in spite of that fear, you're going to be building a really strong muscle, and every single step of the way, you will get stronger and stronger. I guarantee you. So here's a really good worksheet to work out your fears. First thing I want you to do is look back to a time when you were afraid to do something. You were really, really worried and afraid and scared, but now you know how to do it so well that you could teach somebody else. So use that as your power. And then also look to who in history can you look to for inspiration in overcoming your fears, right? And I'm sure you would agree. Do you think that successful people also have fears? Of course they do. But why do they keep moving forward? And how can you use fear to help you reach your goals? And I want you to remember to shine. If God put an idea in your heart and it is in there, then know it is your idea. You're unique. You holding back and not shining your light bright is doing a disservice not only to yourself, but also to others. So if an idea is put in your heart, then have the faith, take the leap into the unknown, because you were given this beautiful life. So don't be shy, baby. Shine, shine, shine. Now we're going to move on to joy. Don't let anybody steal your joy. Look at joy as just owning yourself. this is you, this is your goal, and this is your dream. And as you're moving down that road, we want to keep joy and we want to have fun because that's going to keep you motivated and that's going to give you that positive forward motion step in the right direction, one step at a time. One really good step to helping you keep your joy and not let others take it from you is don't compare yourself to others. It is so easy nowadays as well. We can hop on social media and see somebody doing something that we wanted to do and they're better or they're smarter or they're younger or they're whatever, fill in the blanks, right? But to be fearless, brave, and bold, mind your own business. Don't compare yourself to others. You are uniquely you. And how does this help you? Think about it. Does it really help you to compare yourself to others? And how does it hurt you? So I'm sure you can think of a list a million ways that can hurt you. Sometimes it might really help you to look forward. I'm an active triathlete and I am training for my very first Ironman, which scares the daylights out of me. So this presentation is helping me as well. But I will tell you, I have looked at others and I look to others that are maybe older than me, maybe started with athletics later in life. So when I compare myself to those folks, it helps me because I think, wow, if they can do it, I can do it too. I'm going to be very careful of who I compare myself to because I don't want to compare myself to someone that for me, it might make me feel less than or not strong enough or not good enough. So be very careful of how you compare yourself to others, using it as a positive to help you move forward, not as a negative to hold yourself back. Another great way to achieve your goals is to sometimes actually stop in place and be still. When we take on a new goal or a new project, we can get very excited, but then we also get very overwhelmed, and that has us many times throw in the towel. So remember, sometimes positive forward motion means just stopping and being still right where you are. And it's very important to have self-care and spend some time alone in nature, meditate, whatever it is that works for you. There's so many different apps and things that we can do. Gosh, for me, I love being out in nature. It really fills my soul. But be still and give yourself time, okay? And it gives yourself time to get to know yourself. Perhaps journal, be careful of what you say to yourself. Be proud of yourself. Talk to yourself. It's really easy to talk to yourself when you're out in the middle of nowhere. And doesn't have to be for a long time. Maybe give yourself an hour a week, and then from there you can grow on it. But be still, get to know yourself. And since we're talking about being still and getting to know ourselves, why don't we spend maybe just 3 minutes while we're here together? Now, don't run away. If you're driving in your car, you can still do this little 3-minute meditation and just be still and breathe. So obviously, if you're driving, don't close your eyes. If you're sitting somewhere safe, go ahead and close your eyes. And what I want you to do is take a nice deep inhale, followed by a nice slow exhale. Let's do that again. Nice deep inhale. And a nice relaxing exhale. We're going to do that 5 more times. This time when you inhale, pause for just 3 seconds and then exhale all the way. So let's start with 5 inhales and a pause and then an exhale. Here we go. Number 1. We have 2 more. I want you to keep going, and then on your very last inhale and exhale, I want you to think about inhaling confidence, pause, and exhale self-doubt. Good one. Let's do it again. Inhale confidence, pause, and exhale. All of that self-doubt. Now, wasn't that easy? We haven't even made it to 3 minutes yet. So I know you can spend a little time each day with yourself, and especially a little time taking some nice deep breaths. It is one of the best ways to conquer our fear. You probably have done this all your life, and quite often we don't even realize that when we're scared or nervous or anxious, catch yourself. You wind up taking deep breaths because we're made that way. We know that if we take long, slow, deep breaths in, pause, and then out, it will slow our heart rate, it will calm us down, and then we can refocus and move forward. So I hope you remember to do just 3 minutes daily. It's very easy, and I bet you feel a little relaxed already because I know I do. And another simple step to help you be fearless, brave, and bold is to practice being a giving person. So, of course, you want to give some time and energy to yourself because who is more important than you? Nobody. But when you do that, you'll be calm and relaxed, and you'll realize that when we practice being a giving person, it is really going to fill our lives. So don't wait for others to make you happy. Quite often, we get stuck in that little rut in our life, and I don't know how it happens, and it's really silly, right? So don't wait for others to bring you joy and to make you happy. Go out there and make others happy. And you can do it at no cost. You can just volunteer your time. You can volunteer your energy. My goodness, you could just give away a smile. You can hold doors for folks. You can certainly find time and places that you can volunteer, give your time and energy to help those less fortunate. Quite often, you can give away your time by just being a really good active listener to maybe a friend or a family member. But if you want patience or you wish other people were more patient with you, then I suggest be more patient. If you wish others listened and were better listeners to you, then you should also practice being a better listener. So whatever it is that you're looking for to happen in your life that's going to bring you more joy, I highly recommend that you stop in your tracks and think, what can you do to add more joy to others? Because then naturally it's going to come right back to you. So here's a little worksheet, a little recap and a reminder. Think about how often do you compare yourself to others? And if you are comparing yourself to others in a negative way, pay attention to how it makes you feel, right? Maybe when you're out there on your own being still and meditating and spending some time alone, think about how that makes you feel when you compare yourself to others. Identify that and start doing less of that. How does comparing help or hurt your goals? So look at that. Make sure you're looking in the right direction. If you are going to compare, make sure it's helping you. And then make a list of things, no cost things that you can give away that will help you feel happy and joyful. And I want to remind you, as you're on this path of positive forward motion, whether you're going back to school or starting a huge project or a small project, whatever it may be, find joy in the journey. Because if you can't find joy right now in the path you're on and what you're working towards, how do you expect to find joy once you get there? You know, I always remind folks that you take you wherever you go. Oftentimes someone thinks, well, if I just move to a new place, or if I just this, or I just that, I will be happy. You are always going to take you with you. So start with joy and just own yourself and finding joy right where you are and take that with you along your journey, because then when you get to your goal, you will be ecstatic and joyful and so happy. And I'm so proud of you for paying attention today and moving forward to your goal. I'm so honored that you're here, and I'd love to hear from you. I hope you found this helpful. And as we come to our conclusion, I want to remind you to keep moving forward. And on this slide, I was going to say the sky's the limit, but it's not the limit. There are no limits to who you are and what you can do. You are amazing. You were put on this earth for a reason. So you know what? Keep moving forward one little step at a time. Thank you so much for joining in and watching and listening. Nothing will make me happier than if you share, like, comment, all of the above. I love spreading positivity to others. It certainly brings me joy, and I hope it brought you joy today as well. Keep up the positive forward motion.